Hello, and welcome to my presentation called Which is Worse in Education, Cheating Face-to-Face or Online, You Decide. What does the research tell us about online cheating, online courses, and or face-to-face? The first thing that's addressed is moral development by Kohlberg. There's a 6-stage theory. The first two are self, family, community, and then humanity. In these various stages, there's 3 different stages. One is called pre-convention. Second level is called convention or conventional. And then the last thing is called post-convention or post-conventional. Basically, in these 3 areas, it talks about moral development. One can determine the moral development, as seen in the research, in the pre-conventional stage right here, where you're able to determine what is right is wrong and to gain personal interest. In one of the studies, we found that ethical decision-making may play a gender role. In fact, women show to have more ethical morality than do men. And in addition, they tend to make ethical decisions more frequently than males do. One external factor that was interesting to note is that students who participated in sports were not as ethical as who did not. And if there were female athletes, females tended to show more ethical behavior than males. One of the demographics of one of the studies was that there were approximately 645 graduate and undergraduate students. Mainly they were female versus male. 9 did not identify their gender. There was 107 freshmen, 105 sophomores, 157 juniors, 153 seniors, and 102 graduate students. One of the areas of being ironic is that when you tally all these numbers, they do not come to 645. So one of the limitations within the study is that the data is inaccurate. And they also came from cross universities as well as various schools. When asked to do a self-reporting about dishonest behaviors between live classes and online classes, there isn't any big statistical difference. Most of them range within about a 0.2 spread. One of the only big areas is right here. And here it says, I have someone give me answers during a class quiz or test. And they found that online there's a greater propensity for that to occur. Basically, there is no statistical difference other than the one mentioned before, but yet the limitations within the study was, are people honest in this type of survey? The overall studies is that there's a greater chance in receiving answers to online tests if there's not a proctor. They recommend you do alternate methods for assessment, authentic assessments in particular, essays, research, and projects. One of the limitations within that is that it's hard to grade, it's very tedious, and it needs to have some type of checklist or rubric when writing. Females do admit to more frequent cheating than males. Is that because their moral development is greater, or is that just because of the survey of the people that were surveyed? And also something to note that there was a greater chance that freshmen and graduate students cheated than sophomore, juniors, and seniors. Academic cheating has various definitions. Some of them may include purchasing a term paper or test online, paying someone to take the test, and or using your notes when you're asked to, take an online assessment. 73% of all test takers believe that they've cheated at least once in their academic career, and you'll see the numbers that are below. Academic dishonesty is interesting, and how they defined it is interesting. To use your tasks or projects that you've done for one class and use it for another class, that's technically academic dishonesty, posing it for new learning. Another type of academic dishonesty may be cheating on an online exam or cheating in a traditional classroom. And here we can see that 33% admitted to cheating in an online class, 32% cheated in a traditional classroom. So statistically it's a 1% difference, which is minor, and a small percentage have actually been caught cheating. There's various ways that one can be protected against online cheating. The new thing is using biometrics. You can use webcam proctors or something called ProctorU. There's different types of software that are able to identify the recognition. One of the biggest things that I want to talk about online cheating is not so much the paper and pencil test to the online test, but is creating authentic assessments that are individualized. And by this, I don't mean just research papers or essays, I mean developing some type of product whereby they can use it in whatever course they're taking or in future in an e-portfolio. Okay, so when we look at online courses, there's definitely been a drastic increase from use, and we see that the assessment design and cheating risks are definitely correlated in some fashion. With online learning, there has been an increase based on supply and demand. Non-traditional students are attending more so than ever, and due to busy lives, the traditional classroom setting doesn't meet it. So online learning is a great opportunity to expand your pool of candidates as well as to reach various different people. When you design an online course, one of the things that we need to look at is the weight or numeric value of the assessments. Based on moral judgment, based on Kohlberg's 6 states of development, we're realizing at the higher stakes, the higher rate of cheating. So here, if there's one assignment that is rated super, super high, it's probably suggested that you lower the value and or create an assessment that is solely individualized. In the event you're using assessments, it's suggested you do an online assessment in the sense of using webcams or proctors. You want to randomize the test question order in case there's cheating and screenshots. There's an ability to lock screens, and this is now able to be done in Google Forms where you lock their screen so they cannot access anything on the web. You can check their IDs before taking an assessment, so one teacher could proctor all these tests and make sure that they are who they say they are. You can use biometrics, which is probably one of the easiest yet most non-effective way to do that, is where the computer itself or the person's laptop is able to identify who you are based on eye recognition and different types of metrics such as your fingerprint as well. I think in the near future this will be a huge investment and a huge area of where we do much of our assessments. In one of the studies, they said that there's reported ways that people have been cheating. One might be hiding friends in a closet or under a desk or under a blanket, and then they're able to help with the answers. Using a look-alike to take an exam, so it might be a twin or a brother or sister that looks just like you that can pose as you. We do need to know in a big lecture-style classroom, most teachers don't have that one-to-one, where a small classroom this wouldn't be easy to do. Other areas are mirrors or drones to steal exam questions. Inside water bottles is probably the new trendy face-to-face thing. I chuckled when I read this, post-it notes on a dog, and using cell phones to text answers. Now please note, back in the day there was other strategies of cheating such as tapping on the desks or different maneuvers of the hand to represent A, B, C, or D on a multiple choice test. And then another way is to use earbuds to communicate with other people in the classroom, in or out of the classroom, to discuss answers. Back in the day, we used to write on our arms or use scrunchies to hide that or cover it up, the bottoms of our shoes, the soles of our shoes. And now that we moved on to online assessment, we see that ways to cheat might be taking pictures and sending it to a peer, might be using online resources such as Google or search engines, or perhaps or even notes. Other ways is actually wearable technology. This could be smartwatches, this could be other types of technology where those answers can be placed. We see this now being a big concern in standardized testing now in New Jersey, whereby people could have formulas posted, etc., or share answers or share open-ended responses. Online tools to help with cheating or other areas of not being caught in cheating or posed as a cheater would be Turnitin, which is used in most higher education. EasyBib, which is proper citation so one cannot get accused of cheating. PaperRater, which is similar to Turnitin, and of course Grammarly, that helps you with your writing skills. So in case you can't communicate effectively, the software is able to help you using artificial intelligence. Next is there's free plagiarism detection tools, and the reason why it's free is in quotes, is to show that there are paid versions and there are free versions. One of them is called QText. I just kind of gave you a screenshot of what it does. This one is entirely free. There are limitations as far as how many things you can download, but overall it's a really good software. The next thing is DupliChecker. It is free of charge. It's pretty easy to use. There is a limitation of how many scans for registered users versus non-registers, and there is no paid version. CopyLeaks is the same idea, that it basically is detects various things, and there is a paid and free version here. Next This is Paperradar. There's free and paid. It's pretty common. It's used by multiple people. A lot of subject matter experts are in this, so that's really good. So high-level learning and high-level people with that expertise can help with grammar and vocabulary and plagiarism. Plagiarisma is the same thing. There's paid version as well as a free version, and the one thing I like about this is it supports various languages as well. Plagiarism checker is the same concept. The only downside of this is it's only supported by Google and Yahoo browsers, which is a shame because Google is pretty well used. Plag Tracker is basically the same thing. There's a pro and a free version, and of this supports other languages as well. Viper is exactly the same thing. So these are all the same tools or similar tools that just have a little bit different features. Research that support academic honesty. So before we even talk about cheating or how to stop cheating, we need to talk about what is academic honesty, the importance of teaching academic honesty, including moral development, as Colbert expressed. Different softwares include ProQuest, RefWorks. Another one includes Unplag. That's a detection engine that basically looks through software to detect any similarities from one document to another. The Respondus Lockdown browser, Respondus has a really good rating, and basically it locks down your browser and is compatible to Canvas, Moodle, Schoology, Sakai, so a lot of the common learning management systems that we're familiar with today. Another thing from Respondus is Respondus Monitor, and this does more or less the same concept. ProctorU is a big company that allows you to basically monitor while the assessment is happening. So you're able to see everything that's going on. Mendeley is basically allows for student, teacher, and researcher use to help out with certain citations to make sure it doesn't show that you're stealing the work of someone else's. Purdue OWL is very, very common. Purdue OWL is used to help with citations and how to cite the paper and resources, etc. Google Scholar is another way where you can quickly find online articles that'll help you understand a specific topic. It's free, it's easy to use. The only limitations here is that it doesn't provide the huge databases that we might see with other databases. In conclusion, based on learning about cheating online, there are some underlying themes that exist. The first thing is that the research is limited and antiquated. The articles were written over a decade ago, which suggests that the technology to support cheating or not to support cheating have been majorly updated. When researching new databases, there isn't much discussed regarding these topics, so it'd be interesting to see where the data would suggest now. The next thing based on the research suggests that the perceptions of cheating in online classes and the reality of cheating are very, very different. So many suggest that there's a huge perception of cheating online when in fact the reported cheating is limited, no difference than what is found in face-to-face. One of my favorite things that I like to discuss always about cheating is the reason why there's high levels of cheating goes back to the instructor and or designer. So if an answer can be found on Google, then cheating is quite easy. For instance, if you can Google the answer, then you're probably not designing well, which just suggests the recall level of Bloom's taxonomy. I also think that we need to invest in biometric technology, whereby we'll be using this a lot more than we've ever seen before. We'll have technology in labs and in classrooms that don't require a teacher to be in front of you, but that you'll be on camera at all times. And last but not least, I think everything falls back into the instructional designer or the teacher or professor, whatever you want to call them. The person who designs the learning also is responsible for why is someone cheating in your classroom, what's causing you to be cheating. From personal experience, I don't have much cheating, but yet all my products are customized for the learner. The great thing about that is cheating is on the decline. The downside of that, though, is there's lots of grading, and not many people may invest in the types of feedback that is given for these individual projects. Well, hope you enjoyed the presentation on cheating, and hopefully you'll never be part of the cheating population.